Before there was no pain, but I was rubbing my chest like this. I said, oh, it's probably about 11 out of 10 now. And he goes, listen, I'm not talking about the pain in your head, I'm talking about in your chest. Then I said, oh my gosh, it's a 13 now. And then as soon as I said 13, that's when I had my cardiac arrest and was clinically dead. I actually died for 10 minutes, so I had no heart rate, no pulse, no oxygen on my brain for a whole 10 minutes.
From what other people have told you about that time, what was happening to you?
So they did aggressive CPR, because that was the first thing they did. And it was so aggressive, it caused internal bleeding. Then they got the defibrillators and was just kept on shocking me. They found out it was a pulmonary embolism. They said usually people live with it, they're just on blood thinners for a lot, but what happened is mine broke. So once it broke, it's gathering blood all around the body and they're forming little clots all over my body. The biggest one was on my heart and lungs, and they said the one on my heart and lungs was the size of a cricket ball. Also, the MRI revealed that 85% of my body was filled with blood clots. Even the doctors, they just don't know how I recovered. There's mystery themselves. I just put it down to my faith in God. I think there's a plan for my life.
Could you just talk to me a little bit about what the rhythm and pace of your life was before everything kicked off?
I was a care line officer, so we look after vulnerable adults, whether they have dementia, mental health, or generally unwell. In my job, I'm classed as the fittest one. I'm always eating healthy, encouraging everyone to eat healthy, telling people I go to the gym. So when it comes to running up the stairs, I'm usually the first one to reach the destination. But on this particular day, halfway up the flight of stairs, I just got this sharpness of just out of breath. It was really like I actually sprinted for 100 meters, and I just started to breathe heavy, and then I got my breath back, and then just went throughout the rest of the night shift, and it was okay. I go to work, and that same guy that I ran up the stairs with, I saw him in the park, and I said, something's not right with my chest. And I said, look, mate, can you just call the ambulance? And he's like, really? I said, yeah, something's really off, really off. So they came, they opened up my chest, put the monitors and the stickers on my chest and stuff. And then they said, look, your heartbeat's a bit irregular, but it could be normal for people like you, because I was telling them that I work out and stuff, but we just want to make sure it is normal, so we're going to take you into hospital just to do some finer checks. So they sprayed something under my tongue. I can't remember the name of it, but it opens up the arteries, opens up everything. But it said after 5 minutes, it will give you a serious headache, but that's just the side effects. So they wheeled me out. And then I said, listen, I could walk, you don't need, I said, I'm a grown man, I don't need your help to walk. He goes, no, we need to push you in. This is our job, just relax. Then there was a heart specialist, and then he came over and he said, I hope you don't mind. I can't remember the exact figure, but I think it was 12. He said, I've got 12 trainees with me. Just want to know if you're all right with that. So I said, no problem, there's nothing wrong with me, so it's fine. So they all come over and he goes, right, Mr. Alec, what's the problem? So I said, she's been out of breath for the last 3 days. And he goes, is there any pain? So I went, well, before there was no pain, but I was rubbing my chest like this. I said, well, it's probably about 11 out of 10 now. And he goes, listen, I'm not talking about the pain in your head from the spray, I'm talking about in your chest. Then I said, oh my gosh, it's a 13 now. And then as soon as I said 13, that's when I had my cardiac arrest and was clinically dead. I don't remember anything. And I get asked this question a lot, especially like by Christians or people who believe in God, like, you know, did you see anything? Did you see a flashing light? Did anyone? And I was like, no, I didn't see nothing. And I think it's just that fear of dying, isn't it? You know, everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. So everyone's always curious about the afterlife, but I can honestly say I didn't see nothing.
How long were you in that induced coma?
I was in the induced coma for 3 days. When I woke up, and after a few hours, I remember I tried to sit up, tried to move my hands, and I couldn't feel anything. I was like, why is my hands not moving? Why is my leg? I was really like, brain, move hand, brain, do this, brain, and it wasn't. And then in that moment, that's when I prayed to God and I said, listen, I can't live my life like this. There's no way. I said, Lord, like, listen, I'm ready to die. If there's a way I could die tonight, I'm happy, because I've experienced death. I don't remember it, so there's no problem, I'll go. So literally when I woke up, I woke up and I was like, I was a bit confused, because I was like, okay, so I've asked to die, but I'm still here. And then I just like went to wiggle my toes, and then they wiggled. I just kept on wiggling my toes, because it's so weird at the time. I was just thinking, let me just keep wiggling them, because, you know, I can lose reception, you know, like a mobile phone signal, and the signal from my brain and my toes will just disappear. So just for like 10 minutes, I kept on wiggling my toes. Then I kept on moving my hands, just so I could just make sure that signal is not gonna die. I could move, but it was a real struggle, because I was still getting fed through a tube and stuff. And those times were the times that were tough, that I had to break down, seeing your mum like washing you and stuff like that. It's not nice. It takes your manhood away as well. Like, you know, this is, you know, I'm supposed to be doing this for you when you get to a certain age. Why are you doing it for me? I'm a grown man, you know, so.
What happened next for your recovery?
I was in hospital for, I think it was a month and a half. I was in ICU for 5 days. 5 days ICU. There were just so many checks they needed to do, and plus I was always sleeping, because I'm not the best sleeper on a big bed. So in that small bed, and I had wires everywhere. I had a catheter on my penis, and oh gosh, I don't know how they got that in there in the first place. And then, you know, moving around with that, that's hard. My blood was so thick, I had to have 7 blood transfusions at the time. And then I remember when she came round for the 7th pint of blood, I asked her, why are you taking my blood? And she goes, we're not taking your blood, we're giving you blood. This is your 7th pint. So I was like, oh wow. My blood was so thick they couldn't inject a needle into some parts of my body. The needle would just get stuck. So I had tubes in my neck, tubes in my nose. So it was very difficult for me to move. Hammersmith Hospital gives me a call and said, listen, we've heard your story and we want to set up for you to meet some of the doctors and nurses that were involved in saving your life and your recovery. I was like, no way. And I just thought, what, I'm actually going to shake hands with the hands that actually saved my life. And in the mirror, I was like, right, what am I going to say when I see this guy? When I see the people that saved my life, I'm going to be like, hey, you okay? Thank you. Or will I be like, oh my God, this is like hug them, lift them up, swing them around, you know, like I didn't know what, I was honestly practicing my, because it's not every day that you meet the people that actually saved your life. So on my way there, I was like, really like gearing myself up and like practicing, like I've got my routine. When I see it, if it's the male doctor, I'm going to be very macho, give him a strong handshake grip and yeah, thank you for it. When I saw him, I hugged him. like a baby. I hugged him. I was tempted to pick him up. I hugged him. Like, I was trying my best not to like cry and stuff. And then I met the lady that done the operation. Now, when she walked into the room, and then we was talking, and everyone's like telling me what their involvement was. They were telling me, thank you for coming, because we save a lot of lives and not everyone could come and say thank you. And I was like, she walked in the room, and like, it was actually like at that moment where, you know, when people say, oh, did you see like a glowing thing when you died or anything like that? When she walked in the room, that's when I saw like a glow. It's like, this is the lady that's did the operation. So I was like, I just stared at her, and then she came over to me, and I said, listen, I'm a hugger. And I'm not a hugger. Yeah, I'm not a hugger. And then I just gave her this massive hug.
What does life look like now?
So life looks like very, very, very good. Life, sometimes we look back at things and like, wow, why did that happen? Why me? And I'm so grateful it did. And I've learned so much from that journey. And I just feel that that stuff happened to me for a reason. You know, if I wasn't meant to be here, I would have died. They would have, but I'm not. I've come back to life and defied all odds.